Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? It is Wednesday, April 26th, 2023. Welcome to another episode of The Throw-In. My name is Justin, and I'll be here for the next 2 hours. And boy, we got a lot to talk about today. So we're just getting settled in. What's going on, everyone? So what's on our calendars today? Okay, we are one day away from the NFL draft, which we'll be talking about here later on in our program. We're also 2 days away from the WWE draft, which is going to be exciting, brand split and all that stuff. So we got, our hands are full. And normally right after WrestleMania, in my opinion, things become a bit lackluster. It's right after WrestleMania, storylines begin, and the last couple of years, in my opinion, it seems to me that the WWE just doesn't have what it takes. So we're on the verge of that's all changing here. And I'm just making sure that everything works the way it's supposed to be working. I get a phone call right when I start, right? So we got the NFL draft. We got the WWE draft coming your way here within the next 48 hours. And so we got a lot of questions. So today we will be talking about buy or sell options, which is 24 hours away. One of the questions that I will most likely not be able to get to today, but I think we should be talking about in a couple, over the next few days, maybe by the end of the week, I'll get to the question is, we saw, we're seeing statements from, quarterbacks. Josh Allen came on. The quarterback is always, situation's always a big concern in the NFL. And with Aaron Rodgers, who we'll talk heavily about in hour number 2, with Aaron Rodgers signing with the New York Jets, then it kind of urges it kind of just gets intriguing because the AFC is just that much more stacked. We have Josh Allen, we have Mac Jones, we got, Tua Tagovailoa, we have Aaron Rodgers newly included in the AFC, Lamar Jackson, wherever he's going to be placed, Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett growing into his own, Deshaun Watson. We'll see, who else do we got going on here? We'll see Trevor Lawrence, right? And then we'll see Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this is a pretty well-stacked AFC quarterback division. And you know what? Aaron Rodgers signs up with the New York Jets. I got a lot to say about that. So we'll talk about that today. Cincinnati Reds getting ready to play in about 20, 30 minutes from now, looking to take on their first sweep of the season. So something to look out for. We'll pay attention and tune into opening segment like we always do. We'll cover the Cincinnati Reds, get you the lineup and all that good coverage going on. NBA, NHL, playoffs continue. We'll provide updates for that. But we have ourselves a lot of WWE talk. NXT Spring Breakin was last night. I think it had a lot to say about the direction that the WWE is heading into Friday night and the WWE draft. But the biggest story coming out was Monday night. And if you're listening to our show back on Monday, and thanks to Trey because he asked some really good questions and had some really good comments part of the show. And we kind of altered our show so that we could talk a lot about the big announcement Triple H had. And he goes on and announces that there's going to be, that he presented a new World Heavyweight Championship. And, basically how he says it's going to go. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and how, whatever brand he gets selected to on Friday night, whether that is SmackDown, whether that is Raw, that's where he's going to be on. And what's going to end up happening is on the opposite brand, they're going to crown this new title. Okay? So let's take a look at this new title. That's what I'm looking at. This is the new title. That's interesting. I had my brother calling me up yesterday, left and right, wanting to talk about presentation of this title. So, honestly, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I personally feel based off it looks, and I know a lot of people are comparing this. This is kind of a new. It's kind of a unique twist. All right, you redesign the World Heavyweight Championship, which the shape of the gold and the strap looked very identical to a World Heavyweight Championship, right? The one that Ric Flair made famously for. And yet again, it was a year or two ago that Ric Flair argued about obtaining this prestigious title. So what have they done to change it? Well, it doesn't just say World Heavyweight Championship. It has the WWE logo right smack down in the middle. It has it has the one plate on each side. It has you took in some of the characteristics of the World Heavyweight Championship and you've kind of enlarged it. There's a lot of comparisons saying that this title looks a lot like an UFC title. There's been comparisons that this title looks a lot like the AEW championship title. And so, the title alone, I think this is the new modern era of how this title is going to be given. It is going to be perceived. I like it. I actually enjoy it, quite frankly. So I know a lot of people have their mixed opinions. So the title base alone, I like the idea and I like the notion and I like the design. I think there are so much talent that is starting to rise. And the one issue that I had when it came down to Roman Reigns beating Brock Lesnar last year, becoming an undisputed champion, universal champion. And the one problem that I had last year was that in order for this to work, he needed to bounce back and forth between Raw and SmackDown, alternating, because we need to bring people up. Well, the problem is that for one, he's running out of opponents, which I feel it's probable. But two, he didn't do that. He also, at the same time, signed a new contract deal, which I don't blame him whatsoever. I think Roman Reigns signing a legitimate contract deal that favors him, allows him to be home with his family, as well as take care of his health, because we've already know the level of health that he has been through already. And a lot of people, a lot of cases will say, well, he's not, maybe he should, consider retiring at some point sooner than later. This new contract that he signed last year kind of redefines his workability so they can keep him in the show as long as possible, because Roman Reigns is at the top of the food chain. This year, I think he surpassed Kenny Omega of all time in this generation, although Kenny has definitely had a lot of success. So, but we need a fighting champion. We need a champion that's going to go out there and is going to work and fight and can defend this title night in, night out, anytime, anywhere. And it's interesting that Triple H says anytime, anywhere. And I'm going to go off of a deep end and say something like this. I don't know how far away WWE is away from doing this. And honestly, I'm probably going to say this and sound silly and never see this happening, but this is my take on this title. World Heavyweight Championship. We consistently talk about this quote unquote forbidden door where the WWE, we think that they're taken a part of, and they're not. We've seen AEW do it quite often. We've seen Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, and the whole idea of the forbidden door, if you've been living underneath a rock, is that this forbidden door allows wrestlers to jump promotions for storylines and for matches. And you think about, you bring in, if you have Matt Cardona with in a TNA or Impact Wrestling, and he jumps over to AEW to work a storyline with Sammy Guevara, for example. This is his, maybe it's a 6-week deal, maybe it's a one night deal, or maybe it's a couple of months. Whatever the case is that this is loan. I mean, we've seen AEW talent go to different promotions and promote their own championship. Just the other day, I saw pictures of Wardlow at an NWF local wrestling promotion, and he carried the AEW TNT championship with him. And I thought, man, I wish I would have been there if I had known that, right? And possibly, and I think a lot of us as wrestling fans will think that the WWE could potentially down the road be open to the forbidden door policies, because there are so many competitors out there that will love to, maybe not have necessarily a career in WWE, but come on over and have a feud with some of the greats. I mean, just think about, imagine 2 years from now, we could potentially see Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega one-on-one at a WrestleMania. I know it's all hypothetical, and I know this is a far-fetched statement from anybody, but you just think about that. Think of the possibilities if WWE breaks down this door and be able, and even AEW, because I think it takes both parties to come together on this. And you're like, all right, listen, let's work together. Let's come up with a plan that we can help each other grow, because that's what it's about. When you have multiple promotions as a wrestling industry, I want Impact and AEW to do just as good as WWE, because I think they thrive off of each other. I think this could potentially lead down the door being a world heavyweight champion, that you can maybe invite wrestlers, professional athletes to WWE on a short-term basis, maybe 6-month segment. And you could I wouldn't be surprised under the Triple H era, we could see let's say Seth Rollins has this title, he hops over to AEW with this title, and like I said, I know this is far-fetched, but hops over to AEW and faces Jay White or something like that, at least something along the line. So I don't know. When I see this title, I see it as a good sign for the WWE. When Roman Reigns, unless Roman Reigns was back and forth and they made him, all right, he's going to go back and forth every week or every month, then yes. But there is so much talent right now that deserves this main spotlight. Guys like Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. I mean, potentially Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. There are guys ready to fill, Braun Breaker down in NXT. There are guys that are ready to come up, and you need that platform. And one thing that's been holding the WWE and this, growing, it's all about growing and moving forward. Right now, there's a lot of talent that's not moving forward because Roman Reigns has both titles. So it is nothing, no disrespect to Roman Reigns, no disrespect to what he's done in his last couple of years as holding down the fort. But I think this is an opportunity for new image. That leads me to this question. What impact does this have on the undisputed WWE Universal champion, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns? And the reason why I say this, because I do feel that announcing a new title, and take it however you want to take it, back on Monday, but I feel like Triple H kind of took a shot at Roman Reigns a bit, saying, listen, hey, you had definitely signed a contract that if it was presented to me, I would have signed the same exact thing. But we need a fighting champion, and therefore this title is going to be that title. You're basically telling me, Triple H is basically telling Roman Reigns that, great, you have that title, go do your thing over on your brand, and the other brand's going to be represented by a new title. Now, I think this is a good thing, because if you're going to have a show on Fox, they're going to need a title of their own, right? And that's Roman Reigns, as has been for the last year. Well, USA Network needs a title of their own too, and Raw needs a brand. They're not promoting, I would say, the US title as much as they should have, but you kind of need that, those titles in place for that. But I do feel that this World Heavyweight Championship kind of takes away everything that Roman Reigns has built and done with him, his career over the last 3 to 5 years, and unifying the titles last year. What are you going to do? You're going to let Roman Reigns, after this title run is complete, are you going to let him combine those two titles and make it one title? Or is he still going to carry two titles? Which title at this point also is the more prestigious one? My first guess is the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. But if you're telling me that the World Heavyweight Champion is going to be a fighting, defending champion anytime, anywhere, and you hold true to that value, then why couldn't the World Heavyweight Championship be the most prestigious titles? I know it hasn't been around a lot, but it's just been a reimage. I mean, for me, the World Heavyweight Championship has been a champion that, has been around because it's been carried through different pro wrestling promotions. WWE Championship has just been strictly with WWE. So right off the bat, there's a plenty of different takes. In my head is been twirling and spinning around since Triple H's announcement. It just got me thinking. And I do feel like a little bit, it takes away from Roman Reigns. It takes away from the undisputed WWE Universal Championship a little bit. And I feel like it degrades everything that's been worked for this past year, being the top of the bar. Well, let's explain to you the breakdown of everything, here in our program, most likely in hour number 2. We want to go ahead and get you guys ready for the Reds and Rangers, who are getting ready to square off. The Reds are looking to hopefully take a series sweep over the Rangers. They have the chance to take the first series sweep of the season today. That's if they could pick up a victory over the Cincinnati Reds. We'll talk to you all about that coming up. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on and don't miss a single episode. If you guys are tuning us in on Facebook and on Twitter, we welcome. Thank you. Hit that like button, that share button. Let people know that we're live. Get involved in the comments on the YouTube section. Let us know how you feel about everything that's been going on. I want to know, how do you guys feel about the World Heavyweight Championship that will be crowned later in May? So we'll talk about that coming up. We're just getting started underway here on the Throne One for the next 2 hours. Thank you guys for downloading us, listening to us, making us your sports show. And I hope you guys enjoy this program. You guys are listening to The Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word, lay here beside me. Don't wanna move too fast, your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. I never dare to ask if we're gonna last. I'm needing all your love, needing all your love. Oh, oh my God, you know you're playing your cards so right. Oh, I was looking for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, oh, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I was looking for hearts, I was looking for hearts. Blood is pumping, I feel it in your veins, surfing your heat waves. Your taste is different, somehow it makes me brave, chemical nature. Don't wanna move too fast, your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. Oh my God, you know you're playing your cards so right. Oh, I was looking for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, oh, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I was looking for hearts, I was looking for hearts, hearts, hearts. I was looking for hearts, hearts, hearts. I was looking for hearts. Oh my God, I'm a fool. Thought I'd never fall into you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so cruel how I'm loving the things you do. Ooh, yeah. Oh my God, you know you're playing your cards so right. Oh, I was looking for hearts, just in the dirty clubs and diamonds. Take me, oh my God, oh, but we'll hold our faces straight. Oh, I was looking for hearts, I was looking for hearts, hearts, hearts. I was looking for hearts, hearts, hearts. I was looking for hearts. Too fast, your lips on the floor, sipping on your love, sipping on your love. I was looking for hearts.
As Nathaniel Lowe steps in, and after his 11-game hitting streak, he's slowed down a little bit, but this ball is pounded deep out to right. It is gone. Lowe's third home run of the Rangers strike first again. 1-0. Off we go here in the bottom of the third inning. Luke Maley, 2-2 pitch. And Maley hits it back up the middle. That could be trouble. Backhand stop. Simeon, long throw. In time, they got him. Oh, what a nice play by Marcus Simeon, the Gold Glover. Simeon has twice flied out tonight. 2-1. And this ball hit hard out to left field. Is it high enough? It is. It is gone. Simeon with a laser into the bleachers in left field. Here's Young again. He's 0 for 2. And Young hammers this one out to center field. That will get down, and it's going to be a lot of trouble. Jankowski's in. Garcia scores. Young drives in a pair with that double and stretches the Rangers' lead to 5-0.
Now the left-handed hitting Josh Smith.
Ooh, this one hit with a dash of power. Deep out to left. It's gone. Josh Smith with an opposite field home run, his first of the season. And the Rangers extend the lead 6-0.
Martin Perez in the driver's seat. Nick Senzel, first pitch, ground ball through the left side, base hit. A clapping Ramos crosses the plate. Newman up to second, Reds on the board at 6-1. Here comes Bruce Bochy. That's going to be all for Perez. Runners at the corners, and the batter is Henry Ramos. Hard comebacker off the pitcher. Fairchild breaks, he scores, no play.
Senzel will be the batter.
Over short, that's down, base hit, wave on to third. Jankowski from left, throw to the plate, no. Safe slide, Stevenson, RBI knock on a 3-hit night for Nick Senzel. The tying run will bat in the home eighth. Runners go. Down the left field line. That goes fair. Ramos scores. Senzel scores. Pereira to third. And Fraley to second standing.
4 runs in the inning. India, the 9th hitter.
India to center field. Pereira scores. Fraley to the plate. Tavares is thrown. Caught. Fraley slides safe. Reds lead.
Jonathan India wants to be that guy, and he is that guy. He brings that tenacity to the ballpark. You mentioned it every single game he's been in. And folks, this is the reason to come down here to this ballpark, because this team will not quit. Scratching and clawing.
They need to get 3 more outs. Alexis Diaz is in, trying to bolt it down.
2-2.
Diaz. Cincinnati has its biggest comeback in over a decade. Reds win 7-6.
Alrighty. Well, you gotta be excited, I guess, right? For the Cincinnati Reds picking up a victory. 7-6 final score yesterday. A really good ball game. Great comeback. 6 runs in the 8th inning to give the Reds the lead and ultimately a win. They win in a walk-off fashion back on Monday, 7-6. And, you know, I'm a bit surprised. So if you listened, one thing that they said in the highlights is that this is the reason that these Reds, you know, battle and, you know, fight and crawl for every last out. And, you know, there's been a few games already this season where the Reds seem to be out of it, right? Well, to me, majority of the games, it's been very close. And it hasn't been like a long, you know, lead where they're just not trying. They're trying. Things just sometimes haven't gone their way, which is definitely a bit frustrating. But this series is a good pickup series. I was listening to David Bell on the highlights of Monday night's game. And David Bell went on to say that this was a comeback, you know, that this hopefully sparks, you know, them in doing something spectacular. And I think that this could potentially spark everyone in the, you know, in the lineup. I mean, last night, you know, key player last night for me was Nick Senzel. 3 for 4, a run and 2 RBIs. And for a guy, you know, an outfielder that is not expected to be much of anything. He's, you know, he plays center field, moved over to third base. And he's, you know, he's a guy who, I guess, in my opinion, doesn't expect to see much of anything, right? In my opinion. You know, I think that he's one of those guys potentially going to get traded halfway through the year. And he's putting up some good numbers. And last night we saw a couple. It was all the base knocks. Tyler Stevenson, 2 for 4 with a run batted in. Henry Ramos, 2 for 4, just called up, 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in, an RBI yesterday. He struck out once. Henry Ramos's average right now in the last 2 games, 429. some powering coming out of Stevenson. He moves up to 272. I'm feeling comfortable. And to see from a guy like Nick Senzel, who was brought up recently, and then he's kind of struggling, getting his average back to 200. I'm liking it. I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with the win, and I think the Reds have an opportunity to go through the sweep. And let's look at the pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. 5 and 2/3 of an inning given to Luke Weaver. You know, he allowed 8 hits and 6 runs. Yeah, 2 walks, but he struck out 8 batters. And he did allow 3 home runs. And you know, throughout that game, when you saw, all right, man, he's going to allow 6 runs in through 5 and 2/3. He gave up all the Reds' run because the bullpen was once again flawlessly leading up to this Revere San Martin picking up the victory last night, and then Alexis Diaz comes in the 9th inning, striking out 2. He allowed that 1 hit, but he saved for save number 3 of the season. Bullpen's finding their way. I'm going to tip my hat to the bullpen because one of the struggles we knew coming into the season was the Cincinnati Reds bullpen. And they picked up a monstrous series, and they're hoping to go in for a sweep. Their game is about to start here. I want to say, if not, it's already started. 6:35, I think. Yeah, they're just warming up. And I think I have it here. So let's get to you the starting lineup for today, by the way. And it starts off, I believe this is the starting lineup. Let me double check because I don't want to give you the wrong information. Alrighty. All right, so here's the official lineup for the Reds in the batting order for today with Graham Ashcraft, who is on the mound. They'll begin with Jonathan India playing second, leading things off, followed by TJ Friedel out there in center field. We have Spencer Steer batting third at first base, Tyler Stevenson, the designated hitter, batting cleanup. Jake Fraley out there in left field batting fifth, Henry Ramos in right field batting sixth. Batting seventh is Kevin Newman. He'll be playing shortstop. Batting eighth is Nick Senzel. He'll be at third base. And batting ninth is the catcher, Kurt Casale. Yeah, I think the only thing that changed, was the original lineup was with Will Myers, but he's not in. He got scratched out. So they're about to get underway. They'll be taking on John Gray. So the Rangers moved to 14-9. They'll be taking on John Gray, who's 1-1 with a 3.72 ERA. Okay. Let's see who else we got. All right. And then we have there we go. And then we have the 9-15 Cincinnati Reds, who have Graham Ashcraft out there, who's 2-0, 1.88 ERA. Graham Ashcraft's last outing was back on the 21st of April in Pittsburgh. He goes 5 innings, giving up 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. John Gray over there with the Rangers last pitched against Oakland back on the 21st, which was last Friday. 5 1/3 inning, 6 hits, 3 runs allowed, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts. I think this is a clear opportunity if you are for Cincinnati to pick up the first sweep. I think they have an ultimate chance today to do so, and it's all about getting the job done, honestly, at the end of the day, and that's what we're looking forward to doing today. We also got a trip around the National League Central here, as yesterday's standings, Cubs shut out the Padres 6-0. You got Tigers beating Milwaukee 4-3, and San Francisco beat the Cardinals 5-4, and the Dodgers snapped a 7-game winning streak over the Pittsburgh Pirates with the final score of 8-7. All right, that moves the Cincinnati Reds tied with the St. Louis Cardinals at 9-15, but currently sit in that 4th place position. Pittsburgh is still leading the NL Central 16-8. Milwaukee 15-9. In second, Chicago Cubs 13-9 in third place. The thing I'll say about this here is that you got one game left before you get an off day. I say let's finish out strong. Let's finish out with everything that is going on and just knock it out of the park. First game for the Central here. Reds hosting the Rangers. Game 3 of a 3-game series, 12:35, just about getting underway. We got the Padres and Cubs tonight at 7:40. The second afternoon game in the Central is the Tigers and Milwaukee. 1:40 start time here in just about an hour. St. Louis and San Francisco at 9:45 in a 6:35 game between the Dodgers and the Pirates. That is a trip around the NL Central. A lot of stuff to talk about. And hey, we're hoping for a serious sweep. Let's go on the Red Legs as they get underway. We'll be tuning into. Hopefully, we'll give you some updates throughout the game here. All right. The NBA playoffs continue as well as the Stanley Cup playoffs. We will get you all that information and much more. We're taking you to the bottom hour of number 1 here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Goes her own way, like he don't give a damn, girl. And my God, she owns it. So many heartbreaks, goes back to 2014, and I think that she knows it. And if you've seen her, I know that you would believe it, 'cause I Everyone's taking their shot, but missing out on the cut. I think she knows that she drives him crazy when she's looking like that. The way she's moving makes him want it so bad. It's the attention that we wish that we had. It's
12:40 here on the program. Welcome back here to the Throw-In here on a fabulous Wednesday. The Throw-In is given to you thanks to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can create your podcast videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. Also by Epidemic Sound, discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. And I know we don't talk about this often, but we have a little bit of time, and I want to just invite you out to check out our merchandise page. Scanning on this QR code here will give you directly to our page where you can shop TNC Sports Talk and the Throw-In gear now. Get your hoodies, jackets, and much more at tpublic.com/user/TNC-sports-talk. Alrighty. Well, it wasn't an only great victory we heard of yesterday with the Reds as they head into Game 3 this afternoon, hopefully to pick up a sweep over the Texas Rangers before they get a bye. This has already turned out to be a really good 3-game homestands, because I believe that the Reds will go on the road after this to, I should at the top of my head, but they will be on the road against Oakland, and then they're heading to San Diego before coming back home for a 6-game homestand at the beginning of May against the White Sox and the New York Mets. So, the last homestands didn't quite turn out as much as planned. They were 3-4. I say that was average, but making up here the last 2 wins. And then you think about it, going over to Oakland right now, who is just awfully terrible. And it's a kind of interesting because you remember last season we were in the same boat that Oakland's in now. Well, the difference is that Oakland is going to Vegas here in the next couple of years while we stay in Cincinnati. It's a beautiful area, great American ballpark, great place to play at. So I wouldn't never have it any other way, but they are definitely moving on. Hopefully we could take it on the road, wrap up today, take it on the road to Oakland, have a good series there before heading down to San Diego and taking on the Padres in a 3-game series. Well, we also had some college teams looking out pretty good. Xavier Musketeers ended up picking a 7-3 victory last night, yesterday afternoon, exactly, a matter of fact, over Eastern Kentucky. They extend their win streak to 4 games, moving to 26-15 overall conference play, 7-2. Tyler DiMartino, 3 for 4, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and a home run in yesterday's win. So congratulations to the Musketeers. And hopefully they can just continue this over into the weekend, as they'll be hosting Seton Hall at Hayden Field this weekend. So I know it's kind of supposed to be gloomy and rainy out there this weekend, but we'll definitely see. If you guys have nothing better to do, I highly recommend heading out to one of these games as well. We will give you a Cincinnati Cyclone update tomorrow on our program. Didn't have enough time to get that information down. Kind of just bypassed me with everything else going on. But we start off in the NHL as yesterday the Islanders picked up a Nice victory, 3-2 over Carolina. They moved to Carolina leads the series 3-2. Minnesota gets shut out by the Dallas Stars as Dallas Stars win 4-0, moving to a 3-2 lead. And also Edmonton picks up their third win in the series against the Kings last night in a 3-6 lead, a 3-2 lead, 6-3 victory. Excuse me. Today, we'll see Florida Panthers take on the Boston Bruins at 7 p.m. Boston, 3-1 lead over Florida, looking to take care of business tonight and advance in the Stanley Cup playoffs as Seattle Krakens and Colorado Avalanche enters tonight's game. Puck drops at 9:30. Both teams are tied at 2 apiece. We also take a look at the NBA playoffs as they look to continue. Yesterday, we saw the Boston Celtics, after being up 10 points with 5 minutes left in the game, going down to losing 119 to 117. The Boston still leads 3-2 in the NBA play in this first round playoff lead. But the question, I think, has it. I don't think there's any doubt that Boston will advance, whether it goes to game 7 or Boston can figure things out for the next game coming up. But the question is that you go give up a 10-point lead again the first round. Just imagine how much more difficult it is. The room for error is very, very slim when it comes down to playoff runs, especially in NBA. One game can really jolt a sense of spark in a team's confidence. Minnesota loses to Denver 112 to 109. Minnesota is out of the playoffs as Denver advances, as well as the Phoenix Suns, who beat the Clippers last night 136 to 130. They advanced to the second round. So Phoenix and Denver, I believe those are the 1 and 2 seeds in the playoffs. No, Phoenix is not the 2 seed, but Denver is the number 1 seed, I believe. So they would advance. Today's ball games tonight at four games for NBA tonight. We got the New York Knicks kicking things off in Cleveland at 7 p.m. The Knicks lead 3-1 in this series. We also have the Los Angeles Lakers over in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies at 7:30. Lakers finding some ground. And what's interesting about this playoffs, and I've heard it from others, and I think it sparks. It seems like LeBron James just having fun at it, and when you're having fun, you win. So 7:30 tip off. 9:30 Miami Heat takes on Milwaukee Bucks as Miami heads into tonight's game 3-1 over Milwaukee. And tonight, the last game at 10 p.m. Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings. Kings got out to an early 2-0 start of this series. Golden State's found a way to get back into the series, and now it's all knotted up at 2 apiece. So these next 2 games are going to be worthwhile going on. That is your NBA and computer never wants to load. Come on. That is your NBA and your. There we go. And NHL. So, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about working with Enlighten Studios a little bit. I know we do this every program. I want to continue this. Enlighten Studios have been working with them since their theater production of Love's Not Enough, which was written and directed by Terry Chappell II. Enlighten Studios does a lot more than just what's going on? There we go. Enlighten Studios does a lot more than just films and theater productions. They do classes. They give back to the community, and one way they give back out to the community is by volunteering at some of these festivals in Cincinnati. Well, a couple festivals are coming up in the month of June and July this year. Down there on the Newport and the Levee, down there on the Strip line, and they volunteer and they like to give back and extend that volunteer to others. So these festivals are going to be filled with fun music, food, live music, foods, drinks, everything you could think about. It's at these festivals coming up here June 8th through the 11th. The Italian Festival is coming up. Taco Festival is June 23rd through the 25th, and then the Celtic Festival is July 14th through the 16th. And so, we want to offer and extend the volunteer help out to you guys. Volunteer today, with the Enlighten Studios. And by the way, you got to keep your tips, which is exciting to talk about. And then, so in order to volunteer, slots are open for all three festivals. You guys could either DM me directly to the show or email enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com. That is enlightenstudios.cincy@gmail.com. Give back, show everyone why the great city of Cincinnati is such a wonderful place at these festivals, and we want to see you out there as well. So get a chance to volunteer, give out some time, and give back to the community, make some money. So we're looking for that coming up in June and July. All right. Bottom half of hour number one here. We talked a lot about opening the show up with this new World Heavyweight Championship. And so let me ask you this question, you guys. Is this title, this was the quote unquote big announcement that Triple H had for Monday Night Raw. Was it worth your while? Because, I was thinking about some other things. We talked about this on Monday. What could have been the big announcement that was worth your while that you had to tune in for on Monday Night Raw? And, we threw out ideas such as such as the new opponent for Roman Reigns. We did mention this title, so we were technically at a percentage correct. But maybe, Raw cutting down to 2 hours. I was a little bit scared in the direction of maybe Monday Night Raw or Raw moving to a different night or to a different network, which I know has been lingering around the last couple of days, if not weeks. So there was kind of a lot of things that I think we were validated and weren't to be feared of. It could have been a new update or it could have been a good thing or a bad thing. And I think this title gives potential to have so many different things that could come out of it. As we mentioned, I don't know where the forbidden door lies with the WWE, but to think that you can designate one title it's a trial run, right? You think about it, because I don't think the WWE, if and when, I say if they decide that they can break down the fifth wall, they take this outside the WWE. My brother called me yesterday talking to me about his crazy thoughts with this whole new championship. I don't have a problem with the way that this title belt looks. It's what they do with it, and it's how they present it, which all that matters to me. And the way that I ask of presenting this is, my brother called me up yesterday and he said, "Hey, how come this could be a potential idea of the title getting sent to UFC and having Brock Lesnar win the title and go." I think that's a little too far. And I told him that. I was like, all right, you're a little too crazy. But overall, I mean, this title could lead to a lot of different things and good things for the WWE down the road. But I think we cannot forget about, we cannot ignore the tribal chief, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship itself, Unity, that has been tied along with the bloodline and probably one of the greatest storylines, at least said, dated back to Undertaker and Kane, right? Or so my thing is that how much is taken away from the undisputed WWE champion and the championship by having this world heavyweight champion. I understand that we are in we got to understand that, let's be honest, if we are honest with ourselves, this prestigious title, this undisputed WWE Universal Championship, has not really been portrayed the way it should be. Yes, you have the right guy holding the title, but the way that it was supposed to be defended didn't go the way I think a lot of us planned or hoped for. And I think it was ruined when Roman Reigns signed that new contract. And I'm not saying nothing about Roman Reigns shouldn't be signing that new contract, but at the same time, you do take a lot of that, you do take a lot of the credibility away. So, I don't, what title is going to be more prestigious? This new title that's coming up that you have to fight and defend anytime, anywhere. Also, or is it going to be this title that Roman Reigns has for the next year? And, I think it also now leads to a whole other ton of questions that we will open hour number 2 here of the program. Hour number 2, we'll talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers as he sets to make a press conference today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, as he is officially dealt to the New York Jets. The winners and losers of that deal is going to be in hour number 2. We also have some buy or sells coming up in hour number 2, NXT review, as well as a quick preview of AEW. Sammy Guevara takes on Darby Allin tonight on Dynamite, and the winner will go on to face MJF for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. So that is still all to come. Our number 2 is going to get underway right after we take our break. Thank you guys for tuning so much into the throw-in right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with me.
Hour number 2 of the program, I'd like to give a big shout out to Spreaker from iHeartRadio, where you can upload and analyze and monetize your podcast. Be sure to listen to the throw-in on all audio major platforms thanks to the distribution of Spreaker. Spreaker.com for more information. Really, just a few clicks, upload each and every episode, entering breaks and whatnot. They're a great, great platform to upload your podcast. Want to give a big shout out to Canva that makes all these breaks and presentation that is given to you. Thanks to canva.com. Utilize their opportunities with videos, ads, and much more. Visit canva.com for more information. Deal back on Monday. Before we get into NFL, I want to give you exactly. So this is what happened. Back on Monday, Triple H announced that and revealed that they're going to be a new world heavyweight champion that will be crowned on May 27th at Night of Champions in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Basically, he says, listen, I love what everything Roman Reigns has done, but we need a fighting champion that will defend this title anytime, any place, anywhere. And when we do that, basically, Roman Reigns, whenever you get drafted on Friday night, whether it's to SmackDown and it's to Raw, then you and that undisputed WWE championship will be strictly to that brand. Which now I think there's some questions to be asked because we don't know if there's going to be GMs. We'll probably find that out Friday night, hopefully. But the big question is now you have to ask yourself, do you want Roman Reigns on your brand? Do you want Roman Reigns on Raw and SmackDown? And the reason why that's a question that now I think is stirring the table is because of his contract deal, is because of him being a, I would quote unquote, part-timer. When he gets to select and choose the weekly shows that he gets to show up on, you then gamble that he won't be defending his title or not making appearances each and every week like a champion or like the face of the company should be. This is where it becomes hard to be a fan of Roman Reigns because we know what it takes. We have an expectation and a standard for the face of the company. And if Roman Reigns is that guy, and we believe he is, then he needs to be more apparent. And I don't think I've seen him once since WrestleMania, other than maybe the night after WrestleMania. I don't even quite know. So that's what is troubling me. And if they do announce managers on Friday, there are managers for Friday. Hopefully there is. You do have to ask yourself, with knowing the contract of Roman Reigns' future, how he gets to pick and choose selective times, how much are you going to push Roman Reigns? Do you take the gamble on selecting Roman Reigns? What we do know is if Roman Reigns gets selected to SmackDown, on Raw, they will host tournaments or whatnot to lead up to Saudi Arabia May 27th, and they'll crown the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion, the new inaugural World Heavyweight Champion, which then throws out ideas like Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Finn Balor again, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus for, Gunther on the other hand. So there are definitely a lot of options, but that's what the plan is too. Now, the other news coming out that there are considerations in the WWE and with the brand split that they will have brand split premium live shows after the draft. Now, what does that mean? Well, back in 2016, we saw this. I think back when they first split the brand, they saw this it was like every other month they'll have a premium live, or what they had called back then a pay-per-view of Raw, and then they would do SmackDown and then back to Raw. So it was kind of like they've extended the storylines. I like the idea for the Roman Reigns factor because now he's competing every other month, but I mean, they used to be able to get away with having, just, all right, alternating main events of the, all right, you're going to have 4 matches of SmackDown because this is a SmackDown pay-per-view, and then 3 matches of Raw, and then next month is vice versa or whatnot. So I don't, seeing history and how that turned down last time, well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how that turns down again. Well, Aaron Rodgers is officially a New York Jets as he has bidden farewell to the Green Bay Packers in a statement he made yesterday. And I'm going to read you the statement that he made. It was a Twitter post yesterday from Aaron Rodgers. Basically, he says, and I quote, "I'm not sure it's possible to fully express the gratitude that I have to the Packers or our incredible." All right, let me read this. All right, and I quote, I'm not sure it's possible to fully express the gratitude that I have to the Packers, our incredible fans, the state of Wisconsin, and thousands of players that I cross paths with, the incredible men and women who worked for the organization, and the amazing people who I got to meet along the way. And the most with 10 pictures, but I hope you read this and feel my heart and soul filled with love, joy, and peace about my time in green and gold. Rodgers wrote, I grew up in Green Bay, drafted at 21, fell in love with the game, met some lifelong friends, and take with me memories that will last a lifetime. He is great. He goes on to express a little bit more gratitude to specific players, MVPs, whatnot. To the fans, he thanks them. He says, to the fans, thank you. You made every run out of the tunnel special, every home game magical, and it was an honor to be your quarterback. To my teammates, I love you all, and I'm thankful for the moments on and off the field that brought us close. I played with legends. I played with friends. Thanks for believing in me and having my back always. It's not the end for us. I will see you again, Green Bay. You'll always be in my heart. Now, Aaron Rodgers is moving to a really well-known division. Now, let's talk about this trade, this deal. All right, Aaron Rodgers to New York. What does this do? Well, one, a lot of people are jumping back to the indication with, and how similar this could be with, from Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And the thing I'm going to say on that is that Tom Brady and Buccaneers are not the only quarterback that's done that. Don't forget Peyton Manning, who's done that with the Colts and the Broncos, right? Almost a decade ago. But I think he has to now put his big boy pants on. Now, any quarterback that steps into New York right now, any quarterback that's, all right, let me put it, any team that Aaron Rodgers steps in, to a franchise is a good, better choice. And right now, what is he doing? He's replacing Zach Wilson. So my question and my thing is that New York Jets are putting all of their chips in. They want to win now, just like the Rams did a couple years ago. The Jets want to win now, and they have a chance to win now. They have the receivers and the win and losers. Let me just go down through the wins. Aaron Rodgers, who wins this deal. He just, his desire to leave Green Bay was only because Green Bay wants to move on. And I think that's a fair deal. All right, Green Bay, you want to move on. You think your time with Aaron Rodgers is done. You want to leave on good terms. You don't want to sugarcoat it. Give it to Jordan Love. We'll talk about him in a moment. And part ways the best you can. I think this for Green Bay and for Aaron Rodgers, you get what you want. All right, Aaron Rodgers, you want to leave. What team would you want to go for? Let's try to make that happen. And that was the Green Bay Packers. Number two, a winning side of things, Jordan Love. After 3 years of watching and learning, well, guess what? He finally gets his chance to perform. Now, we've seen him in and out when Rodgers has been hurt, but this is a good chance for Jordan Love, who doesn't have to be sugarcoated. I mean, you take a look back at Tom Brady and his desire to continue playing, and those questions year in and year out. Okay, is he going to get traded or not? You had Jimmy Garoppolo in the background, and you were holding off on Jimmy Garoppolo, and it came to the point where Jimmy Garoppolo said his goodbyes, left to San Francisco, and the rest is history. And just imagine if Tom Brady said, all right, let me go ahead and move on to another team and let Jimmy Garoppolo be. Where would the Patriots be at today? Number three, all the Jets skilled players. And last year with Aaron Rodgers, we were a bit nervous and a bit worried about the newcomers. And we seen last year that Aaron Rodgers can work with new guys, and he can definitely build and shape up young receivers. Well, when you have receivers that are thirsty to get, on the board, you're repairing with a former Packard, Alan Lazard, an upcoming McCole Hardman. You got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. All these receivers right now, your core receivers, are looking to make a name for themselves. And this can look very good on their resume 2-3 years down the road, in the future. So definitely some really good deals with the receivers. They're going to get a chance to work with a top elite veteran quarterback. Jets fans also should be happy. I have said this for the last, 2 seasons now, that we understand New York is notorious. If you don't perform well, they will let you know. And it's like, all right, well, it's a do or die moment. Because if you don't execute and you don't get what you want out of this deal, which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers is only guaranteed 1 year if he stays healthy, right? We don't know the future of Aaron Rodgers down the road. The last couple of years, he's kind of stepped away from the game in the offseason, analyzed what, himself, his mental health, his physical health, and really, determine if he wants to come back to the game. And so far, every time that's led back to the game. But at the same moment, you got to realize that Aaron Rodgers, there's no guarantee after a year. So this is kind of like the year for the Jets where it's do or die. And this is an opportunity. If you're not all the way ready, then this can hurt. And this is why the Jets pulled off this deal before the draft, because now the Jets could go into the draft trying to figure out exactly, all right, where are their missing links and who can we get to help fill in the emptiness that we need for the team. The losers on this end, Bills and the Dolphins and the Patriots, they struggle to play 500 football. We don't know, we got Bill Belichick over there trying to get back to winning ways and getting back to a playoff run. And we don't know, with Aaron Rodgers now in the way, we mentioned, Aaron Rodgers is enjoying a really high elite group of quarterbacks in the AFC, and it's going to make it that much more difficult playing Aaron Rodgers not once but twice. Miami Dolphins, we don't know the status of Tua Tagovailoa's health, and that's going to be an indication of how their season progresses. So maybe last year when we saw, Miami and New England kind of step up to the plate and be like, all right, we're going to be contenders. That may all change now with how well the Jets were. You think of this, Zach Wilson, who is next on the list as the losing end of this trade deal. The number 2 pick ahead of Trey Lance and Justin Fields getting demoted. Well, we can look at this as a demotion, of course. I think of this as an opportunity for Zach Wilson to take a year to learn a lot from Aaron Rodgers. And then, because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to last beyond 2023. So, Zach Wilson, I say play the patient game, at least for the next year or two, because you could learn so much from an exceeding quarterback from Aaron Rodgers. And if you could do that, then you're going to go on. And then in 2 years, you come back, you can really improve. And this is going to be the first year that we see Jordan Love. Green Bay goes to Jordan Love and says, all right, this is your team. You run this team how you need to run with the help of our offensive coordinator, our quarterback coach, and our head coach, right? You run the team how we want, how you need to run. This is where it's either you put up or you shut up at the moment. Zach Wilson is getting that opportunity. Instead of being given up on, you got to take a step back, reanalyze yourself, figure out where you need to work on and where you need to improve on. I think of it as a beneficial move because we don't know the status of Aaron Rodgers in the future of his, tenure in New York. And if he does go down with an injury, Zach Wilson, be prepared. We've seen injuries in quarterbacks a lot last year. Joe Douglas' reputation is going to be on the line. He's ultimately cashing in all of his chips, and he's saying, we're going all in, and it's a do or die moment. All right. He's gambled. He's given the first and second rounds. He's given up the chances of moving up in the draft pick. They had a quarterback, but he's saying, all right, you know what? Listen, I want Rodgers. He's going to win us a championship. And that is the plan. So when you think about this, at the end of the day, okay, Aaron Rodgers gets what he wants. Green Bay gets what they want. They get to move on from Aaron Rodgers. They get to friendly, peacefully move on from Aaron Rodgers. They get to go with Jordan Love that's been waiting 3 years, that's been shaped and developed by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. And you know what? He's gotten some chance out of the Green Bay Packers. Now he gets to, so Green Bay wins. Jordan Love wins. Aaron Rodgers over in New York. This is the gamble for New York. And I think this does for Green Bay. You got to be like, all right, we're starting fresh. We have to eventually start fresh, and that's what we're doing. We did it with Brett Favre over to Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, Jordan Love could have the similar success. The only way we're going to know is by putting him out there, to be honest. This is that generation, and hopefully it works. For New York, you got Joe Douglas putting all his chips on the table. He cashes it in on Aaron Rodgers, and I think this is a do or die moment. For Joe Douglas, you don't know after 2023 whether you're going to keep Aaron Rodgers or not. It's going to be a year-to-year basis. For the New York Jets, we don't know after 2023. So it is a must-win now. Now, my question is does the Jets and Aaron Rodgers have enough what it takes and have all the pieces put together to go out and beat teams like the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and nonetheless to beat Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow? By picking up Aaron Rodgers, okay, by picking up the key pieces, which, by the way, remember, you already had a quarterback, but by picking up Aaron Rodgers and his health and his stability, did the Jets make the right move? And can they capitalize on this big deal that they made? Because if not, it's going to come back around and bite them in the ass. Now, I think the only way that they could come out positive of this is by simply sitting, all right, listen, Wilson, don't get too depressed that you got demoted. Understand that, hey, listen, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, you're the first person going out there. He doesn't come back next year, you're still our quarterback. So this is a short-term deal, temporary deal, that it's cash in now, and also on top of that, take a lot in from Aaron Rodgers. He provides a lot more than what Joe Flacco had to offer when Joe Flacco was with the Jets. Good deal. Aaron Rodgers over in New York. When we come back, NFL draft is among us. We got some buys or sells we want to share with you, as well as some WWE buys or sells, because the WWE draft, we still got the NXT review and AEW Dynamite preparation still to come. You guys are listening to The Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to you, the listeners. That's right. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I would also like to take the time and invite you out to our merchandise page, thanks to T Public. Our merchandise page is where you can find all of our brandings from the Throne, which is currently active weekly, to the TNC Sports Talk official brands, to either the prior shows that was part of the TNC Sports Talk Foundation. Now, within all the brandings, you can select T-shirts in both men and female sizes, apparel such as hoodies, kids onesies, kids T-shirts, phone cases, notebooks, coffee mugs. They have a vast majority. This is why I love T Public. And right now, if you spend $80 or more, you get free shipping. And so we want to invite you out to our merchandise page by heading on over to tpublic.com/user/TNC-sports-talk, or even using the QR code up in the right-hand corner. We want to thank you guys again, the listeners, for supporting us, and we hope to see you guys out wearing our merchandise. $125 here on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome on back here to the program. Hour number 2 in the middle, underway. and those Cincinnati Reds are up 2-0 at the bottom of the third inning, trying to take a series sweep over those Texas Rangers, first sweep of the season, if they can hang on and win and capitalize. This is the time. It's kind of, we haven't seen a WWE draft in a while. And I know that there's a lot of news, there's kind of a lot of, people up in the air about what, everything that is going on, right? I mean, a lot of people like the draft. A lot of people don't like the draft. And I like the draft because it gives us the opportunity for talent to move up in the roster. We got a couple, I think we got some people down in NXT. We'll talk at the bottom half of the hour about when it comes down that they should be brought up to the main roster. And this is that chance. And, one thing I'll say is, like, don't get me wrong. I love the Bloodline being in charge. I love them unifying the titles if it works properly. But you know what? It doesn't quite work as well as we expect them to work out because every time when you unify those titles, you got one title holder, right? And that's Roman Reigns. That's the Usos. In this case, it's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Well, I understand when you don't have enough talent to come up and to challenge Roman Reigns. Like right now, Roman Reigns is running out of opponents, and hopefully with this brand split, it kind of gives him a couple of different opponents. And I still personally believe that wherever Roman Reigns is at and goes to on this Friday, Cody Rhodes has to follow because that story has not been completed, and there's a lot to tell between the feud of Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes that takes you into Backlash on May 6th, a week from Saturday. And if you separate Cody and Roman, you really, I think, you do an injustice to a feud that you can do so much out of. And definitely not wanting to put the title, the World Heavyweight Championship, on Cody Rhodes, right? So there's a lot of twists and turns that definitely tomorrow and Friday we'll start asking. We still got to ask the questions of the tag team titles, which hopefully we get answers for and beliefs. I talked about a lot of it. Trey was on in the comment sections back on Monday, and my brother called me up yesterday. We had a good conversation. So we'll talk about that. But there's a couple things going around. All right, let's start off with the NFL real quick because we have, we're talking about NFL and Aaron Rodgers back at the top of the hour. We want to continue talking about them to transition into football. But we got a couple of buy or sells, and this one here is coming out of the NFL draft. Rumors, buy or sells. And this is about a couple of things that could be happening. So we're going to take you through the list that I have here, thanks to CBS Sports. We're going to share with you what they think and then give you our thoughts. Should we buy or sell on this? So first one coming out of hand is the Houston Texans won't take a quarterback at number 2 overall. CBS Sports says, while this has been a rumor for about a month now, it's picked up steam over the past couple of weeks. In fact, the NFL media's Daniel Jeremiah said these whispers has evolved into wars. You look at the odds in Vegas, and they agree with the rumors for a moment, but now a surprise quarterback is favored to be drafted number 2 overall in Kentucky's Will Levis. It's interesting because we talk about CJ Stroud, we talk about Bryce Harper, a lot of the quarterbacks that could go number 1, number 2, and Will Levis is getting up and is steering in the conversation. Now, the question is, do you stick with David Mills with Houston? And it's kind of difficult to say that you don't stick with it's kind of hard to say that you stick with David Mills because, we're finally seeing Trevor Lawrence come into his own, and we're also seeing, I don't know, Indianapolis is kind of all over the place, and Tennessee is still up there, but, they're kind of continuing. So, I think this is a time to kind of reset the clock for Texas. And sometimes you have to start with the quarterback. So Texas won't take a Keto quarterback in number 2. I say sell on this. You got to take a quarterback. Now, whether that is a Bryce Young, whether that is a CJ Stroud or a Will Levis, I don't know. But I think you would do injustice not taking a quarterback. Buy or sell, Tyree Wilson will be drafted over Will Anderson. I've been more focused on the quarterback slots than anything else, to be honest. Will Anderson Jr. is CBS Sports' number 1 prospect in this class. Yet he won't be going number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. In fact, he may not even be going. He may not even be the first player of the board at his position. Some teams apparently like Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech more. This is a rumor that has been around for several weeks now, and Peter King of NBC Sports has touched on it multiple times. Apparently, DeMarco Ryans could be looking for his Nick Bosa at number 2. And then there are the Arizona Cardinals at number 3. This is kind of interesting for me. NFL GM King told King Tyree Wilson a swing for the fence. Will Anderson's a solid double. It's not hard to understand why teams are intrigued by Wilson. He's 6'6", 271 pounds, a monster with long frame who should be an NFL star. But why are we limited Anderson's ceiling to a solid double? He's probably the cleanest prospect in the class. Very true. They go on to say, I can't say with conviction, I'm selling this rumor. I don't have evidence to bring it on the table. You know what? I'm going to buy into this. Tyree Wilson could be drafted over Will Anderson Jr. People are, teams are looking to compete now. And I think that's one of them. Another rumor coming around, Will Levis stock is rising. With all the quarterbacks in this class, and I think this is the most impressive one, Levis is the toughest to analyze in the CBS Sports article opinion written by Jordan Giannotti. That was yesterday, 8:37 a.m. in the morning on CBS Sports website. He goes on and says he's got the size of an arm you want, but he didn't have the kind of production you were hoping for in 2022. Some of that was due to an injury and maybe a lack of talent around him. But the bottom line is that Levis has potential. Now who's going to take him a chance now? Now, I'm actually going to buy in on this. I think he is a more probable quarterback that could be seen up there at the higher stake above guys like Levi Stroud or CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. Will Levis is one of, you talk about not having the key players and being a quarterback. Well, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, as a matter of fact, advanced with his team further in the NCAA playoffs than Trevor Lawrence, and yet Trevor Lawrence right now is surpassing Fields. Sometimes you need that you don't get what you want in college. Doesn't mean that you're a bad quarterback. He's really catching some eyes. So I think Will Levis is going to be much higher conviction to be in the top tier of the draft this season. Bijan Robinson will be picked at the top 10 pick, or you will be a top 10 pick. Robinson is CBS Sports number 5 prospect in this class, but he plays the position of the league doesn't seem to value anymore. The Texas product avoids a whopping 113 tackles last season. That's the most tackles avoided by any FBS player over the past 5 years. When it comes to him as a protection, is also taught thought that he may be more of a dual threat weapon at the next level. Bottom line, Robinson has so much potential. He's going to be a first round pick. I don't think that's a question to ask. You thinking about teams that could pick him, Atlanta Falcons at number 8, or even the Philadelphia Eagles at number 10. It would be hard to pass back on Robinson. And the running back position is one of those tough positions. I don't know if he'll be in the top 10 because it is a tough division. Being a running back is probably the most tough. Right now, we're seeing everything with Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott is open right now. Maybe you go look into the next quarterback or next running back, but they're easily replaceable, and so that's why I feel like the running back market isn't so big. All right, next one is Jahmyr Gibbs is a first-round pick. The headline of this year's running back class is Bijan Robinson, but he may not be the only running back taken in the first round. Robinson is considered a lock to be taken on opening night, but Peter King reports there's a few teams in this draft that like Alabama running back Jahmyr Gibbs over him. I'm going to also... Okay, so when it comes down to Jahmyr Gibbs, when it comes down to Bijan Robinson, I think I'm going to buy in that Jahmyr Gibbs gets picked in the first round. I think they're going to be later in the first round. So I'm buying in on this, but you think about this. If the New York Giants, for example, who is dealing with this Saquon Barkley issue, anyone could go land a running back last minute. I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. Right now, I think there's a change in the NFL, especially as far as how much does the running game apply to college these days. And these players are coming up from college in the NFL, and a lot of their techniques and tactics are coming up with them as well. So I think he'll be in the first round, probably late first round, but I don't see two quarterbacks. It's going to be quite hard to see two quarterbacks go in the first round, believe it or not, in my opinion. Last but not least, we will actually 2 more, I believe, here on actually 3 more. Wow, that's a long list. 3 more here going on before we take a break. We got Trey Lance will be traded during the draft. I will sell on this one. If he's going to get traded, it's going to be before the draft. I think the 49ers are a bit in a panic mode, understanding that they are uncertain with the health status of Trey Lance. They don't know the status of the 2023 season for Brock Purdy and if he's even going to play. I know there's been some ideas of trading him to Minnesota for Kirk Cousins. I think it would be a pretty big, that would be a pretty catastrophic trade. I think the 49ers have to just give Lance a chance. You haven't seen enough of Lance, so I am selling this. Lance will be with the 49ers this year. The wide receiver class is first round overrated. Just a couple weeks ago, Tim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, tweeted that the NFL as a whole is not as high on this year's wide receivers class as those who make mock drafts are. This report didn't drastically affect mocks, as most still have around 4 to 6 wideouts going in the first round. Let me buy into that. Wide receivers class is first round overrated. I don't think that there hasn't been some surprising names that jump out to me in the first round of the draft or even in the draft period. For me, it's quarterback and defense right now that's going to be oppressing the most in tomorrow night's draft. And last but not least, Hendon Hooker will be taken at a higher than expected. it's appearing more and more likely that the Tennessee quarterback will be a day one pick. I can get a. Can you get on board? I mean, I can get on board on that. Not guaranteed, but I don't know. Top 15, maybe not. The team associated with the rumor are the Texans, although Peter from the NFL media also recently mocked Hooker to the Tennessee Titans at number 11 overall. That would be interesting. Hidden Hooker for the Texans at number 2, if not Tennessee at number 11. I think that would be definitely a big hit coming out of this year's draft. So what do you guys think? Those are my buy or sell. Coming up next, we will take you to the bottom of the hour. WWE has some buy or sells I'd like to share with you. A quick review of NXT Spring Breakin, as well as AEW Dynamite tonight. So take us to the bottom of the hour of our program. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throne right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. AEW Dynamite's on tonight on TBS, where we will see the number one contenders match between Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. And the winner will go face MJF for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. All right, welcome on back here. Bottom of the hour and some lag delays here. The internet doesn't want to load. It happens, and it happens more than none, to be honest. It's a bit frustrating, but you know what am I going to say? AEW, Tony Khan has an important decision to make on Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill defends the TBS championship tonight in a match against Tyra Valkyrie. The added stipulation for the match is that Valkyrie will be disqualified if she uses her Road to Valhalla finish move. This is an important match because it's one of the very few occasions where Cargill's undefeated streak is actually endangered. Valkyrie has been on a roll since debuting in AEW, easily vanquishing foe after foe with Road to Valhalla. That she is not allowed to use the move tonight, but puts her at the severe disadvantage, of course, but it also gives the babyface some adversity to overcome on her way to surprising the world with a championship win and Jade's first ever lost. So can Taya win her match tonight? I would like to. So in this case, right? I would like to see a new title match or two new champion. Jade Cargill has definitely been dominant, and I listen, between her and Bianca Belair, top, just best of the best. But yeah, I am more interested in seeing Tyra Wren, to be honest. AEW match card tonight. Orange Cassidy takes on Bandino for the AEW Intercontinental Championship. Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin for the number one contender spot for the AEW World Championship. Winner will face MJF. Adam Cole will go ahead and speak tonight. Wardlow and Arn Anderson also speaks. Tony Khan has a major announcement. Dax Hartwell takes on Jeff Jarrett, and Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takashita, versus the Percher and the Blade. I'm sorry for butchering those names. It happens. WWE also has a buy or sell moment here as we get through to you ahead of the WWE draft. A couple big concerning issues. So coming in at number one is Drew McIntyre and the WWE aren't close when it comes down to a new contract. And I think that I'm buying in on that one. I don't, listen, I know that with the whole new operations of the WWE selling to endeavors, there are going to be some cuts and there's going to be some contract restraints. I think right now, unfortunately, Drew McIntyre is at a bad time, bad place, bad moment right now when it comes down to contract negotiation. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, Randall Orton of Cage Side Seats, McIntyre and WWE are still far apart on their details in his next contract. Granted, if there is a next contract, because let's be honest, McIntyre would be one of the biggest free agents on the planet to hit the market on modern times. His initial leaving WWE, remarking himself around the world of returning to dethrone Brock Lesnar, has cemented him in a modern great. I'm buying in. McIntyre has every right to demand top contract. Absolutely. Making this as easy buy, man, it is going to suck. I mean, don't forget, he held that WWE championship for a year during the pandemic, which I think a lot of people have have like forgotten about in the sense. I would hate to see Drew McIntyre go right now, especially this new change. I hope that there is a deal that can be done. But right now, I think that the WWE, with the budget cuts, with signing Roman Reigns, and upcoming new talent that they want to keep open for, I mean, I would honestly say let if it has to be, I'd rather losing Drew McIntyre will take a big blow, but not a blow enough to realistically, man, not enough to realistically I think you could easily come in and replace. WWE considers sending Dominic to NXT at number 2. This one's been rumored around for a couple of weeks now. I think it would, it's hard to see. This one's hard to see to be sent down. Dominic is clearly green. The problem is that Dominic could go down to NXT and learn so much. But right now, I feel like he's so much up in the main roster right now. If they would have brought him down to NXT to work on his developmental stuff, like maybe his mic work, I think he could work on. Maybe his character and selling, I think he could work on. Then I think he would have done that when he separated with his father. But sending him to NXT now just wouldn't do anything for him, and I think it puts a delay. The clock is ticking on his storyline with Ray, with his father, and quite honestly, I just think he need. My thing is that Dominic is still in the shadows of his father Ray and Eddie Guerrero with this persona, and I think he plays a good heel character, and I think that's the way to get him over, but he needs to be a heel on his own and have a voice for his own, not keep on hiding in the shadows of Hall of Famers. So, take a look at Randy Orton. He had to make a name for himself. He didn't, yes, he was, a third generational athlete, but he had to go through it to himself, and he had to make a name for himself. So I think this is where I think Ray just doesn't fit down at NXT. Coming in at number 3, no issues between Seth Rollins and the WWE. It would be hard for the fans not to wonder if something was amiss between Seth Rollins and WWE. We've seen that as of late after the stellar show against Logan Paul at WrestleMania 39. Rollins has had one of the more stranger moments of anyone on the Raw after Mania. He walked right into the ring to cut to the commercial, and when it came back, Rollins left the ring while fans chanting along with him his theme song. Social media pictures shows he had a mic in his hand during the break, but never said anything. This came amid speculations that WWE creative has changed courses dramatically once again. And the fact Rollins has mostly been losing since last November to the likes of Austin Theory, despite clearly doing some of the best work of his career. Listen, I do believe that the WWE I do believe that Seth Rollins is having some issues. I think this is going to be a hard pill to swallow, and I hope they get cleared up. But Seth Rollins deserves to be in the spotlight and so much. Now, he has an upcoming match against Omos at Backlash. And yes, Seth Rollins is notorious for making names and making people over, but he has so much to offer and so much to give. And the thing that he's getting overlooked on time and time again, I think it's going to come down to a point where he's going to have to, he has a family of his own. He's going to have to really consider all of his options. I'm buying into that. There are some issues right now with Seth Rollins. CM Punk returns has been set for weeks. It's not shocking news. It sounds like CM Punk's returns to AEW is set. Meltzer wrote on Wrestling Observer newsletter recently that Punk's return date is June 17th in Chicago, typical AEW, at the United Center on the current unnamed new Saturday show. The write-up added this. The decision on Punk returning was made many weeks ago, although there was a snag 2 weeks back that had evidently been worked out. It's hard to imagine a decision this big was made weeks ago, given the bump it would provide across the board of AEW, was able to start promoting it and even stealing some attention from WWE during WrestleMania season. The last time Punk was set to return to AEW, programming was littered with hints and winks and nods to viewers. It's safe to go with the idea Punk will return on the date to help boost news show, but it feels like it would have been promoted well before now. You know, I've given my fair, I'm selling this one. I'm giving my fair share of CM Punk. In all honesty, I have exclaimed time and time again that I'm not a fan. I feel like AEW will give talent chances after chances after chances, just like you see Jeff Hardy. I don't blame the WWE for not signing guys like Jeff Hardy or even CM Punk when you bring in too much drama, right? Right now, the WWE doesn't need any more drama. And to see AEW willing to work with it, I think is great. But I feel that they need to be very cautious. I don't know if this is going to be long-term or if this is going to be short-term, but I get it. You're bringing them back. But AEW is notorious about promoting the heck out of their product. And if you're bringing back CM Punk, which this is where I feel like AEW is hesitant on, because you're bringing back like a guy, CM Punk, you should be like, let's promote him out of the world, right? Out of the water every single day, every single second. All commercials we're airing has CM Punk in it. Well, we don't. I don't feel like although they may be bringing him back June 17th in Chicago, I don't feel like they want to bring him back. And let me be honest, wrestling is fine with or without Punk. I'm sorry to say, we don't need Punk to return to make wrestling relevant. So that's my take. We didn't get a chance to talk about NXT. We'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow. It's primarily having to do with the draft. Heavy draft day tomorrow. Reds out front right now. Hopefully they can pick up a sweep. We'll talk about it all tomorrow when we come back on the program on Thursday's edition of The Throw-In. Until then, thank you guys for tuning into YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on. Don't miss a single episode. And if you miss anything today, you're at work, you're driving, download us, take us on the road with you wherever you go. On behalf of the entire team and the studios, StreamYard Studios, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys were listening to The Throw-In, TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Take care. Have a great day.